Next on Worcester News Tonight, all 11 school committee candidates under the same roof for Tuesday night's debate. Plus, the family of a jogger killed in a hit and run is advocating for safety of runners. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Chandler Walsh. Worcester's municipal election is now just 2 weeks away, and just like Councilor at Large, the race for school committee is jam-packed with candidates. Tonight they were under the same roof for a debate. Our Cam JANDROW joins us now with more. Cam?
Chandler, with the unfortunate passing of longtime school committee member Brian O'Connell, there are now 2 open seats on the school committee. Current member Dante Comparetto is also not running for re-election. It can be difficult to get all 11 of the candidates under the same roof to talk the same issues. Well, tonight that became a reality.
11 candidates for 6 seats. This year's school committee race is one of the largest in recent history, and all have a variety of priorities if they're elected.
I very much so want to see us move our strategic plan forward.
We need to take control of our high suspension rates.
The first is funding.
Closing the achievement gap, which encompasses reading on grade level at the end of grade 3.
Increased beneficial vocational education programs.
The candidates took part in a debate Tuesday night, answering more than a dozen questions. Among them, what the district should do about sex education.
Students in the city of Worcester need a comprehensive sex ed program.
A curriculum that can address healthy relationships, consent, health behaviors.
So LGBT inclusion is critically important.
And what would I exclude? Anything where there's evidence that it doesn't work, which is abstinence education.
A common theme among the candidates was better preparing children for adulthood, which circled back to sex ed.
Just because people are uncomfortable having that conversation with their own children doesn't mean we need to not have that conversation.
What we're supposed to be doing is showing our kids what it's going to be like being an adult once they leave the Worcester Public Schools.
The school committee lost longtime member Brian O'Connell last week. Tuesday's debate included a moment of silence for the lifelong Worcester resident.
So if we could ask for a moment of silence in his honor.
Several candidates say he was a major influence.
You know, were we doing the right thing? Were we doing it in the right order? If you were ever going to have to get into a tussle with Brian over something, you needed to actually be able to know how things worked. So that's definitely something that I owe to Brian.
Now, September's election had a historically low turnout. Just over 8.5% of the voters came out to the polls that day. Some of the candidates I spoke to say it's not about what happens in September. November is when it really counts. In the studio tonight, I'm Cam JANDROW, Worcester News Tonight.
An off-duty first responder who saved 2 people from a burning truck is honored tonight. Michael Bro received the first ever team award from the Worcester District Attorney's Office. The Millbury firefighter stopped on 495 after seeing a truck veer off the road and catch on fire. DA Joe Early also stopped to help and witnessed Bro's heroic efforts.
The door wouldn't move, nothing would move. The flames came up to the top of the truck and Michael didn't move.
I told my wife I'm going to have to pull over, see what I can do to help. Any of us would have done it. It's what we're trained to do, whether we're on or we're off duty. If you can help, whether you're EMS, whether you're a nurse, firefighter, police officer, that's what you're trained to do, you're going to do it.
DA Early also thanked other first responders and Good Samaritans who helped after the crash. The DA's office will give out team awards to public safety officials who show courage and teamwork. Young ambassadors from Worcester's sister city in Israel met with Mayor Joe Petty. 2 ambassadors from Afula, Israel are spending the year in Worcester. They're volunteering in places like religious schools, teaching Israeli culture. They'll then return to Israel to serve in the Israeli military. This is the 18th year the city has hosted emissaries.
We're bringing our own stories, our own Israeli stories here to Worcester, to the community here.
Israel, with the importance in geopolitics, is always on everyone's mind, and this gives the community an opportunity to see Israel face to face.
The Jewish Federation of Central Mass says the partnership brings a great connection between cities and their people. The National Fire Protection Agency says firefighters are at almost 10% greater risk of getting cancer. An annual fundraiser in central Massachusetts aims to lower this number. 3 years ago, the Southbridge Fire Department created an event to raise money for the local 2194 Union Cancer Fund. Firefighter Michael Strupa says this money goes to new equipment, screenings, and financial support to help anyone diagnosed. Strupa is thankful for the community's overwhelming support.
It's been great being in Southbridge and actually seeing the local community, the local town be involved in their city and town, being involved with us as a fire department. They're always receptive to our events, and it's great to be supported by them.
Members from fire departments all over the southern Worcester County showed their support at the event by sponsoring or attending. New video was released today of the suspect accused of hitting and killing Trooper Thomas Clardy on the Mass Pike in Charlton in March 2016. Surveillance video shows David Njuguna reportedly buying marijuana on the day of the crash. The video from New England Treatment Access, or NETA, was presented as evidence on Tuesday in the trial against Njuguna. NETA employee Jacob Quarles said Njuguna purchased 4 pre-rolled cigarettes. UMass Memorial nurse Nancy Isabella told the prosecutor Njuguna had a prescription for medical marijuana. Isabella said when Njuguna was in the ICU, he denied using marijuana prior to the crash and told the nurse he fell asleep while driving. The family of the man struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver is speaking out in an effort to keep runners safe. Daniel de Lima's fiance and sister say they never expected he'd die doing what he loved. They want drivers to hear their message.
On August 14, he went just for himself, and we kissed each other and he left.
JUNEA BICALHO never expected her fiance wouldn't come back from his morning run. Daniel de Lima was jogging in Sutton when he was killed in a hit-and-run.
The most difficult day for me when the chief came in to say that he was not with us anymore.
BICALHO and de Lima often ran together and shared a fitness tracker app. It shows the moments de Lima's heart stopped after he was hit.
I feel that I'm not gonna never get over. It's very hard because we belong to each other.
BICALHO hasn't been able to run since, and she struggles with driving too. De Lima's sister Andrea Makis says knowing her brother was alone makes it worse.
If we knew that the human being who did that did care about and call 911, would be less painful.
De Lima's family is asking drivers to pay attention and drive within the speed limit to prevent other tragedies.
You have to go by the speed limit, and if you see someone run, it's not what's the problem of just slowing down? That's what we are supposed to do.
De Lima was one of 3 members of a local running group who were hit by cars this summer. Central Mass Striders is hosting runner safety workshops to address the issue. They want all runners to take extra precautions on the road, like running against traffic, wearing bright colors and reflective gear, and removing headphones, which could be a distraction. Mike Keating organized the workshop and says runners should also be familiar with the routes they take.
One theme that was hammered home again and again, make sure you tell somebody before you go what course you're going to run, how long you expect it to take, when you'll be back. That way, if you're not back in a timely manner, they know to begin looking for you.
The 2 other members who were hit by cars survived. All 3 happened within 3 months of each other. The state has stopped mosquito sample testing with the cool weather moving in, but many towns are still following requirements spanning after-school activities. One local board of health has lifted their recommendation, meaning sports could go back to their regular game time. Our Abby Burke explains.
The Leicester Department of Public Health is lifting a recommendation to stop outdoor activity after 6 p.m. It's one of several communities who had imposed a restriction citing concerns about mosquitoes carrying EEE. It means after-school activities like football games will be allowed to resume past 6 p.m.
We're going to go by what the Board of Health said. If you do go a little later, with repellent and long sleeve shirt.
The city of Worcester tweeted this week the recommended trick-or-treating time is 5 to 8:30 p.m. But the city's high school sports games are still limited to afternoons for now. Leicester is one of the first towns to lift this outdoor activities recommendation.
I'm sure there's some people wondering why. or why not, as far as why can't their sports teams be out there.
Coach Tim Griffiths is hopeful Leicester's decision will start a chain reaction.
I'm fully convinced by the end of next week, probably most towns are going to make the move. Now that you can play at night, every sport will see. It's hard for a parent or to go see your son or daughter play at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's a lot easier when it's a Tuesday night or a Thursday night or a Friday night.
Now, these restrictions won't be affecting Leicester's football team until November 1st, when they're scheduled their next home game at 7 p.m. In Leicester, I'm Abby Burke, Worcester News Tonight.